What's good, everybody? It's your boy Big Nate. Welcome to Big Nate's Book Reviews, home of the best book reviews. And today we're reviewing As I Lay Dying by the infamous Pulitzer Prize winning William Faulkner. So I got my doobie right here. It is ready to be sparked up on command. And we're going to get into it. So, As I Lay Dying, yep, this was published in 1930. So he an old head, William Faulkner an old head. Was published in 1930. He wrote the book, according to him, over the course of 6 weeks at a power plant where he was basically working a graveyard shift at the power plant. And he said he wrote it from midnight to 4 a.m. over the course of like a month and a half. So if that's true, and I kind of believe it is, if that's true, then you gotta give him his props because this is understood by some to be one of the top American novels of the 20th century. So if that's facts, you do gotta give him that. But he also said he wrote the whole thing and then didn't change a word of it, and that was kind of cap. Oh, by the way, we smoking this one for William Faulkner. We smoking this doobie for William Faulkner. We smoking this one for you, William Faulkner. So he said he didn't change a word, and that was cap. Like that was complete cap. Even in my publisher notes in the book, it said he said he didn't change a word, but he did. So that was cap of you, bro. You really didn't even need to do that. No one would have believed you anyway, and it's just not true. So don't, that was cap. Don't do that. So yeah, that's just a background on the story. But the story itself, As I Lay Dying, is about the Bundren family, who is this small, rural kind of farmers in Mississippi. Um, yeah, it's just like a family of them. There's and in the beginning of the book, the matriarch of the family, Addie Bundren, she is dying. She is like bedridden and she is dying. And the title of this book, As I Lay Dying, is a play on a line in the Odyssey, and that's kind of relevant, which I'll get into in a bit. But so yep, and the pretty early on in the book, it's the premise. She dies, and the Bundren family, which consists of the father, and then four sons and a daughter. So it's a pretty big family. There's a lot of these fools. And it is Addie's dying wish to be buried in Jefferson, Mississippi, which I'm pretty sure is pretty far. I think it's in a made up county or something in the first place, like Lafayette. I think Faulkner makes it up, Lafayette. I don't know. But anyway, they gotta go across the state to to bury their mother. That's her dying wish. They're gonna do it, and it's all of these fools in a wagon carting a dead body across the state. And that is the story, sort of the trials and the tribulations they face along the way. And let me tell you, they face trials and tribulations along the way. So it's a good book. It's a good plot and everything. One thing to understand about this book, it's mandatory, I think, that you know this, because I didn't, and it kind of changes my perspective to know this. It is a dark comedy. It is a dark comedy, and I mean comedy sort of in the Greek sense, where kind of in this, I haven't read the Odyssey, but I'm imagining it's something like this, where they go on this sort of Odyssean level pilgrimage kind of thing across the state, facing all these dangers along the way. So it's like that, and it's like funny. It's funny, but in a dark way. Like this is William Faulkner's take on a sort of, I want to say, epic comedy, something like that. You feel me? Something like that. Structured after kind of these original Greek works. You know what I'm saying? But it's his take on it. It's his modern take on it, and it's his Southern Gothic take on it, because that is what William Faulkner is known for. He's one of the pioneers up there with like Flannery O'Connor, and other people that don't come to mind right now. But he's a pioneer of the Southern Gothic literature, like sort of form, and that's what this book is. And I say Southern Gothic because, for one, it takes place in Mississippi. The dialect is Southern. The dialect is Southern, and which, kind of with all the idioms that come with that, like I'm hot as a Jew bug type type of shit, like that kind of stuff. It's the Southern feel. There is like the fact that this takes place in the American South is a presence throughout this book. It makes itself known. So Southern and Gothic because it's dark, because there's some kind of not so chill things that happen in this book. There's like death, and there's violence, and there's illness, and there's pain, and there's suffering, and there's all these bad and kind of grotesque things taking place. Like it's just weird and kind of dark. So like that's where that comes from, and you'll see if you read the book. There's some not so chill things that happen. There's some not so chill things that happen. So yeah, Southern Gothic, and the reason this is comedic, like in the first place, the reason this is a comedy is because the whole thing is like absurd. The whole thing is just ridiculous, and you'll see that especially at the end of the book, which to me almost reads like a punchline of the entire book. It really threw me off at first, but again, that's why you kind of need this context of it's a comedy. It's a comedy. It's a literary comedy. So, and when you think about it like that, then it's like, yeah, it's kind of funny. I like it. So just kind of the plot itself is absurd. You'll see, but also the characters themselves are absurd, and I mean that, bro. These characters are absurd. So the father of the family, the patriarch of the family, Ants Bundren, bro. Just to give you an example of what one of them is like. He calls the doctor over in the beginning of the book when Addie's wife is dying, or Addie's dying. His wife is dying. And I don't know. I forget really even what happened, but it was like the doctor was too big or heavy or something, and they were kind of on a pitch incline, like it was kind of steep. So he throws him a rope, and I think he just to kind of stable himself. I guess better safe than sorry. It makes sense. And then once they get to the top of the hill, Ants just drops the rope because he's done with it. And they walk back to the house. And then Ants turns to the doctor and is just like, where's the rope, bro? He's like, where's the rope? And doctor's like, what? He's like, where's the rope? Like, he expected my man to pick the rope up instead of him, like that kind of shit. Just that's a great little example, but there's so many of those that happen, especially with that fucker, especially with Ants Bundren. Ants Bundren is a fool, bro. Mark my words, Ants Bundren is a fool. So anyway, the characters themselves are all just kind of wild, and they're a cantankerous bunch, and you get them all in a wagon and carting a dead ass body across the state, and everything that can go wrong goes wrong. Like, yeah, it's just funny. You know what I'm saying? It's just funny. So, but all the while, you got that dark shit happening throughout. Integral to the story is some dark shit. So, anyway, yeah, characters, plot, kind of like dialogue too, on point. Also with Faulkner, you gotta give him this, in my opinion. His descriptions of scenery are also really on point. Just his use of imagery is just very unique. He's got a very unique sort of writing descriptive style. Like at one point, there's so many things like this. At one point, like one of them's pissed, and he's like, you could hear like teeth in his breath. You know what I'm saying? Because he's like pissed. You feel me? Like you could hear teeth in his just. What a sentence right there. Do you feel me? Like, and he's got that all throughout the book kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And furthermore, it's a smaller point, but it's an important point. The form of this book is a presence for the story, like how this book is actually structured. So, like, there's chapters. There's chapters who are titled according to the character you're going to take their perspective in. So it'll say the name of the person, and then it's their perspective. And there's these overall pretty short, but have varying lengths. These chapters have varying lengths. Some of the chapters are one sentence. Some of them are several pages. So you kind of have that textural element even just throughout the whole book, and you got to give them that. It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. And I just read this book, Plain Song, not that long ago. By, I forget his name. I'm gonna forget it. I'm sorry. Plain Song, but it was based off. It had to have been based off As I Lay Dying, because each chapter starts with a person whose perspective you're about to take, and it's kind of like that same format. So you got to give him that. He is kind of a trendsetter in that sense. He got a Pulitzer. Remember, that's no small thing to get. Um, so I'm gonna give this book overall like a B, like a B, give or take, give or take, a B, give or take. And the reason it's not an A for me, just right off the bat, is Faulkner has this very distinct sense. He has this very like style, technique that he uses. That's like stream of consciousness, and I hate it so much. I for real hate it so much, and it's like his signature thing. And it's basic. What it is it's just long, run-on-y, repetitive sentences that are ambiguous. They don't make sense. It's like high effort, like no reward. It's just like not. I just don't like it. It's supposed to give you like an intimate look at sort of raw thought, like it's just coming. It's incoherent. It don't even make sense. It's just rambling. That's kind of what raw thought is like, and sometimes it doesn't make sense before it gets polished. So it's supposed to give you that intimate sort of look, even almost at the unconscious, like the look at the fundamental. This is that character. Do you feel me? So I get it. I get it. But I don't fucking like it, and it doesn't really achieve that for me. Like when I'm really reading it, I'm just like, the fuck is going on, bro? Like this is, but you might like that. You might like that. And if you're interested in Southern Gothic literature, you should check this book out. I would check Flannery O'Connor out first, like her book of short stories. That's like a really good one. But if you want like a novel, yeah, do As I Lay Dying. And especially if you're interested in William Faulkner himself, like as an author, this is the book to start with, because his other stuff can be really tricky. I started with The Sound and the Fury, and it was really tricky. Let me tell you that. I would not recommend that book unless you are really ready for it. So start with As I Lay Dying, because what Faulkner does good is all throughout here, and what he does bad comes in low doses. So it's a good book to start with for Faulkner. But yeah, that's my main critique. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. It's a good book. I like it, and especially when you think of it through that lens. Because I was expecting a normal novel. This is kind of up there. I would rate it almost like Greek literature. I don't know. That's tough because he's not like Greek obviously, but it follows that structure. I think of this like Odyssean quest and this comedy. You could even say there's some tragedy in it as well. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe every good comedy has tragedy involved, but that's just me. Anyway, yeah, that's what I give this book a B. Let me know what you think. Definitely drop that like. You're gonna want to subscribe. You're not gonna be the only one to have missed a Big Nate book review. So hit that subscribe. Drop a comment. What did you think? What did you think of As I Lay Dying, or just Faulkner in general? And thank you for watching Big Nate's Book Reviews, home of the best book reviews.